What is a 9-line, also known as a MEDEVAC request? Let's take a look at what it is, then I'll give you a quick example and tell a story about the all-time funniest MEDEVAC I ever experienced. When civilians call 911 during an emergency, they ask for an ambulance or police in whatever format comes to mind. Some panic and are in shock, and they tell the ambulance to come home ASAP. Others don't know where they are, and so they give bad information. Thankfully, most civilian 911 radio call centers have the ability to find out where you are based upon your phone number or cell phone tower triangulation. But when you are in a foreign country and life, limb, or eyesight is on the line, there's no time to waste. And so the US military has standardized the format for requesting a MEDEVAC, and this is the 9-line MEDEVAC request, sometimes called a MEDEVAC request or 9-line. Let's take a look at the format. Line 1 is the location of the pickup site. This is usually in the MGRS or Military Grid Reference System. Its coordinates. For example, 18 Sierra, Uniform Juliet, 2 Tree 8 Niner, 07 Tree Niner 2. Line number 2 is the radio frequency and call sign of the requester. For example, your frequency might be 785 and your call sign is Falcon Medic 66. Line number 3 is the number of patients by precedence. Here we use brevity codes. A or alpha equals urgent. B is urgent surgical, meaning that the patient needs to have surgery immediately upon landing at the hospital. C is priority. D is routine. E is convenience. Only come by if you're in the area. A good example of that would be Bravo 2, Delta 1. Line 4 is specific equipment. Again, we have a brevity code. Alpha means none. Bravo means bring the hoist. Charlie means you need extraction equipment. And D means you need a ventilator. So a simple example would be Delta 1. Number 5 is the number of patients by type. Again, we have brevity codes. L or Lima is the number of litter patients. Those are patients that are lying down on litters. A or Alpha is the number of patients that are ambulatory, which means that they're walking or sitting. A good example would be Lima 2, Alpha 1. This means 2 litter patients and 1 ambulatory patient. Line 6 is the security of the pickup site. And during wartime, you would use brevity codes November for no enemy troops in the area, Papa for possible enemy troops in the area, approach with caution. Echo means enemy troops are in the area, approach with caution. X-ray equals enemy troops are in the area and an armed escort is required. During peacetime, line 6 is the number and type of wound or illness or injury. You would just give the specific information about the patients. For line 7, this is the method of marking the pickup site. Here we have brevity codes. A are panels, which arranged in a certain way, for example in an inverted Y, signal the helicopter where to land. P is pyrotechnics, C is smoke signal, and D is none. E is other, for example a spinning chem light. A simple example, as seen here in this photo, is Charlie, red smoke. Line 8 is a patient's nationality and status. Here we have brevity codes. Alpha stands for US military, Bravo stands for US civilian, Charlie is non-US military, Delta is non-US civilian, and Echo is an enemy prisoner of war. A simple example would be Bravo 3. Line number 9 is the NBC contamination in a wartime if applicable. Here we have brevity codes also. N is nuclear, B is biological, C is chemical. In peacetime, line 9 is a description of the terrain. Here's where you want to say if there's a building or there's high wires in the area. Typically this is none. Now let's give the MEDEVAC request in the same way it would be given during a combat situation. The medic calling in the MEDEVAC has the call sign Falcon Medic 66. The call sign of the hospital or the MEDEVAC headquarters is Archangel Base. Archangel Base, this is Falcon Medic 66, medevac request follows, over. Falcon Medic 66, this is Archangel Base, send it. Line 1, 18 Sierra, Uniform Juliet, 2 Tree 8 Niner 07 Tree Niner 2. Line 2, 785, Falcon Medic 66. Line 3, Bravo 2, Delta 1. Line 4, Delta 1. Line 5, Lima 2, Alpha 1. Line 6, Papa. Line 7, Charlie, Red Smoke. Line 8, Bravo 3. Line 9, none. You see, the whole transaction took 20 seconds. There's no doubt where to go, what extra medical equipment to bring, and what the enemy situation looks like on the ground. In a more figurative sense, a 9-line is asking for help or providing help for your battle buddy. I know of 2 companies that are called 9-line. One is a contracting company that supports injured veterans and service members. The other makes military-inspired clothing. The funniest medevac I ever experienced was in Afghanistan during the early years of the war. I was working at the battalion headquarters and just learned that Joe, one of the Green Berets assigned to my old team, just got shot up and was medevaced to Kandahar for emergency surgery. I immediately walked over to the Canadian hospital, but arrived about an hour after Joe's medevac bird landed. When I finally found Joe, I was glad to see that he was alive and well, but I never saw Joe so mad in his entire life. He was foaming at the mouth. Glad to see a familiar face, he told me the entire story. As it turns out, Joe got shot in the leg and had some shrapnel in his arm and shoulder, a few days into a long patrol in the middle of some nameless and hot mountain valley. Joe left his gear with the team and they hoisted him up into the medevac. As they flew back to the hospital, the medic on the aircraft cut off Joe's stinky uniform, partially because he smelled like a sweaty homeless guy, but mostly to have better access to the wound. He was several days into a mission and the weather was very hot, so of course he was going to be stinky. To make matters worse, Joe had really grown long hair and a fabulous dark beard during this deployment. So there he was, laying on the litter, dark skin, dark hair, dark beard, bloody, and smelling like a homeless guy. The nurses and doctors who took Joe off the medevac bird must have thought Joe was a Taliban. Once he got into the Canadian hospital, the nurses and doctors never explained what was going on, and they talked about him like he wasn't even there. After about 20 minutes of this random behavior, a nicely dressed Afghan man walked into the hospital room. The doctor asked the translator to explain where Joe was and what was going on. And this was when Joe got mad. He sat up from his hospital bed and surprised the doctor and nurses by answering in perfect English. "You thought I was an Afghan? Are you guys stupid? I'm from Los Angeles. Sure, I might have long hair and a beard, and I know for sure I smell. But seriously, I'm 6'2", and I weigh 245 pounds, solid muscle. There isn't one Afghan in this entire country that's stronger than me. Do you see these abs? This chest? No Taliban can bench 300 pounds. Although the Taliban shot Joe, the real injury that day was to his self-esteem. Had the medevac included Line 8, nationality, even the doctors in the emergency room would have known that the 245-pound solid muscle American soldier was not a Taliban. Okay, there you have it, the 9-line medevac request. Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to keep on learning, and to forward this video to a friend who needs to see it. Life is a special operation. Are you ready for it?